If you've already watched the class video, or if you watch the class live, you've heard me talk about all the problems with drawing 2.4 at the end of chapter 2, the sensor mount. So I'm hopefully going to avoid most of those and just give you a clean drawing and instructions on how to create this sensor mount. But this definitely shows how sometimes you have to be a little creative in order to make the drawing exactly how it's actually shown. So I'm just going to get started here, and we're first going to make this bottom box, which is 1.5 by 4, and it's an open box. And then 2.25 inches above it, we have a 1.5 inch line. So let's go ahead and make those lines. Start a new drawing. I'm not going to, since I already have one open, but you can just choose File, New. If you don't get this Start from Scratch menu, go ahead and type Startup in your command line. Make sure your startup is set to 1. You'll then get the Start from Scratch. Type Imperial, or select Imperial to get going. This is a inch drawing, not a metric drawing. So we're okay. I'm going to get started. Down here, I'm set for polar snap. I only have horizontal and vertical lines selected. My object snap tracking is on, and my object snap to 2D reference points is on. You definitely need to make sure you have midpoint selected here. We're going to use midpoint a fair amount. Okay, so let's get started. So we'll start with a line of 1.5. Then we're going to move over by 4. We're going to go up by 1.5. That takes care of our lower box. We then have to put a line that's 2.25 inches above, and it's centered from this line 1.5 inches long. So I'm going to use my midpoint here, and I haven't hit a mouse button yet, but I take my midpoint, and then I can type 2.25, and that brings me up to the midpoint. Now this line needs to be 1.5 centered on the midpoint, which means it's going to be 0.75 on either side. So I'm going to type 0.75, hit enter, hit escape, and then go put in the other half of the line on this side. Type 0.75, enter. Alright, so that takes care of all the lines. Now let's look at the circles. We have these two 1-inch diameter circles located 1 inch from the center, 1 inch from the center, 1 inch from the corner. They're also 1 inch from the center. They're totally symmetrical, so we have 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and 1 inch. So the second circle is 2 inches away from the first circle on the x-axis. I'm just going to use copy to place that. And it's 0.75 on the y-axis above the baseline. Up here, you also see we have 2 circles. So I'm going to go ahead and put all 4 of those circles in at the same time. And then come back to my drawing. I'm going to choose, actually I guess I'm going to select up here, circle diameter. For the first one, I'm going to do a snap from, and I'm going to select my corner here, and then I'm going to type at 1, 0.75, hit enter. We want a diameter of 1, so now we type 1, enter. All right, that creates my first circle. I'm going to select that circle, click on the center. This is doing a move now. I want to do a copy, so I'm going to type C, enter for copy. So now I'm doing a copy. You can't really tell the difference except by looking down here and noticing that you actually type C. Once I get that horizontal line, the horizontal tracking line, I'm going to type 2, enter. So now I place my second circle. Now let's just take a quick look back at the print. So I have 2 circles up here, and they're located 5.5 inches from the baseline, and they're located from the center of the baseline. So if I just hover over that baseline, when I get to the center, I'm going to see this green triangle telling me that I'm at the midpoint. So if I just start moving up slowly, I'll get that green tracking line. All I have to do is type 5.5 and hit enter. And I just place a circle up there. Now I'm going to do that again. Type 5.5, hit enter again. Now I actually have 2 circles up there. You can't really tell, but if you take a look at these, if I bring this other circle up, if you take a look at the 2 of them, you can see that the ones that I placed are just a little bit brighter. That's the indication that you have multiple parts on top of each other. So actually right now I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to select a circle here. Now if I only click on it, I select 1. If I do this, I'm going to select 2. So don't box it. Don't do this to select. You want to just click on it to select. That will select 1. Then you want to right click, choose quick properties, change the radius of 1 to 0.75. As soon as you do that, you can see the second circle. Click on that second circle, go back into quick properties, and change its radius to 1.5. Okay, so now we have everything except those curves. So how do we do those curves? Well, those curves are actually far from trivial. And as I mentioned, if you watch the text, you'll see exactly what I mean. So I'm going to just take one of these, take this circle here, and I'm going to make a copy of it. So I'm going to start moving it. Type C for copy, hit return. So now I'm making a copy. And I'm going to place it on this line. And then when I get that upward moving tracking point, I'm going to type 0.25. And what that does is that moves this up so that the edge of the circle reaches the top of this line. So now I'm going to rotate this circle. Let's escape, make sure I escape out of both of them. I don't want to rotate 2 circles. I'm going to rotate this circle. So I'm going to select this circle, right click my mouse button, choose rotate. Now the first thing it wants is the base point. The base point, I'm going to select the intersection up here. It's the quadrant of the circle and the intersection of the top of the line. So I'm going to select that. And now it wants a rotation angle. So I'm going to type minus 45. Type enter. At this point, I can put in a tan radius circle. So I'm going to go to my circle here, tan radius. So I put in a tangent, and then my radius from my drawing for this arc or this circle. And by the way, you can't do an arc. An arc will not work. An arc will come in from here, and you're not going to get this drawing. So the radius is 3.5. So I come back to my drawing. I type 3.5. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start trimming. I'm going to trim these one at a time instead of putting all circles in and trimming. So I'm going to select those two as my select lines, hit enter, and I'm going to delete this. And hit enter. Excuse me, hit escape, because I'm done with deleting here. Now I'm going to move this circle out of the way, so I'm going to just select it. I'm going to click on the middle, and I'm going to move it directly across to the other side. Actually, I'm just going to delete this circle. Now, when I blow this up, you can see that we're not actually correct. So I need to adjust this arc that's left. So I select this, and then I click on the end, and I move it back. The final thing that I have to do, while this is still selected, right-click, choose Quick Properties, and check my radius. You see how my radius is still off a little bit? 3.506 instead of 3.500. So now I have to actually modify this. That doesn't actually work. So I'm going to come back here, delete this. Remember, I previously set this angle to 45, so I'm going to increase it a little bit. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to choose rotate. I'm going to click again on the intersection here, and I'm going to change the angle to -5. So I'm going to rotate an additional 5 degrees, and I'm going to repeat what I just did. So I'm going to put in my tan radius circle again. Tan. My radius is 3.5. I go ahead and hit enter. And I'm going to repeat my trim. So I go to my trim, select, escape, excuse me, not escape, enter. Oh, when I hit escape, I exited my trim. So I need to trim, select this circle, hit enter, trim this. I'm going to delete this circle. Now, if you can see this, I'm much closer. And I'm going to select this, and I'm going to move it back. You can see the angle still changed a little bit. But when I go to Quick Properties, my radius is still 3.5. So I'm okay here. So now I actually have to repeat the same thing for the inner arc. And I have to do that with a circle located here. So again, I'm going to take a copy of a circle. So I'll take a copy of this circle, start moving it, hit copy. And I'm going to first place it here. Then if I move it, I'm moving both of them. I had to escape. I'm going to select this one, only this one. And then I'm going to start moving it and move it down by 0.5. because it has a diameter 1. So that puts the circle right here. And actually, while I have this one, I'm going to just do a copy. And then move one over by 1.5. I have another one over there. That's ready for the other side. So I'm going to select this circle, choose rotate. For the base point, I select this point. Now previously I had determined the angle to be about minus 65 degrees. So I type minus 65, enter. And now I'm going to put my circle in. So I choose tangent, tangent, and here the radius is 4.25. I hit return, and now I have to go ahead and check it. Sort of looks like it's going to be okay. Let's confirm. So we go to our trim, we select this circle, we select this circle, we hit enter, we can delete, hit escape, we can select this circle and delete it. Now you can see it looks like we have a pretty much perfect intersection. We just extend a little. So this should be fine. So we take this and we click on it and just move it back. We select it, go to quick properties, and we are still off by a little bit. So we're going to undo all this. Select this circle, choose rotate, click on the end point of that line, rotate by another, I'm going to try 10 degrees. And repeat. Try it again. So tan. Oh, did we put in the wrong radius? Did we put in a radius of 3.5 instead of 4.25? Perhaps we did. I think we might have. Type 4.25 here. Well, we'll see how this comes out here. So that was an angle of minus 75. So minus 65 plus an additional minus 10. Anyway, we're going to trim. We select and we select. We hit enter. We trim, hit escape, delete that, and we take a look, and we bring this down, check quick properties, 4.274. So I think we may have been okay the last time, and we simply selected the wrong circle. So let's go all the way back. Occasionally we make mistakes. All right, so we want the circle there, and we're going to try this tan circle again. Tan, and no, I think I understand what happened. The reason we're seeing 3.5 is because we haven't created it yet, right? I undid. The undo took away everything we did. So I think what we probably need to do is actually rotate this not by minus 10, but by minus 5. So let's do a rotate. We select this circle, -5. Our circle, tangent, tangent, 4.25. Enter. We trim. So we select this. We select this. Type enter. We do our trim. Hit escape. Delete here. Check and see how it looks. Looks pretty good. Quick properties. And we're at 4.25. So that angle was -70. Now, it's possible on your drawings the angles could be a little bit different. I haven't confirmed if the AutoCAD math changes a little bit. And I think it's possible that it might. Okay, so now we're going to go to this circle. And we're going to rotate. Select our base point here. And we had other things selected, so we have to escape out of that. Try it again. Rotate. Select our base point. And here we're going to rotate by +70. Take our circle. Tan, 4.25. Now we're just going to take this circle, move it over here. I'm going to select move. When I select move, I can move from a base point. So I'm going to select the base point here, move that down, and now I'm going to rotate this by the 50 degrees. So I select this, and then I can rotate. So I type 50 for 50 degrees, and now I can put in my tan radius circle. I type 3.5, hit return. So I'm going to take care of both of these at the same time. So now I'm going to set up my trim. I'll select this circle, that circle. This line, we might have an issue with this line not crossing. We'll find out. And that circle. I hit enter. I delete. Okay, so we're fine. We delete that. We can now delete this. We can delete. We don't want to delete that portion. We can delete this portion because we don't want that, and we can delete this portion. Sorry, we don't want to delete that portion. And that's going to put everything back in. So let's do that trim. And we do actually have a bit of a problem with this line. But that's okay. There's a way to handle that. And the way that we handle that is we simply take a line, we make a little extension line. So now, go back to our trim. We choose our trim, and we choose circle, circle. Choose this circle. Enter. If we need to choose other things, we can go back and do those later. Choose that. I'm going to delete this. And I didn't choose that center point, so we'll go back and do that afterwards. But for now, we're going to delete that portion. Hit escape. We're going to delete this extra circle. Go to our trim, select that little piece, select this little piece, hit enter. At that point we can delete this, hit escape. We blow this up, we get rid of our little line here. Now we have to check this to make sure that we're in contact, and we are not in contact. Again, we have to blow this way up to notice. And we take this, we slide it over. We're only moving it by 2 mils. And you see that as we moved it, it changed. Now, if you noticed, what we did, we did the same steps on both sides, yet they didn't end up with the same results. And what that tells us is that there's a bit of an AutoCAD math problem going on. We can come back over here. And we can move that. Sorry, we don't move that to there. We need to move this to here. Oh, and I've got to check. We may have been moving both lines. We were. So let's undo that. Okay. You have to come back over here. And I guess we are okay. I'm trying to blow this up enough to confirm, and it looks like we're okay over here. Quick properties, 3.5, good. And we should just confirm that we're still okay over here. I'm going to leave that incorrect 4.2512 and chalk that up to an AutoCAD error. We still have a few small trims to do. So I'm going to trim by selecting this, 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 and this. Hit enter. Oop, I hit delete. Let's undo. I guess I didn't start by hitting trim. So select this, 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 oop, this, and this. Hit enter. Delete, 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 delete. Hit escape. My drawing is done except for the center marks and that center line. I'm going to leave it to you to add the center layer. You've seen it done many times already. You can go back to another video if you need to refresh yourself. Otherwise, go ahead and finish this drawing and go ahead and turn it in. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And of course, I'm going to save this as 2-4 because it's the center mount. And at this point, I'm going to stop the recording.